Welcome to G3, Games, Gadgets, and Guests, an audio and video podcast from 702 Communications. I'm your host, Brian Crommett. We've got another special Tech Tailgate episode for you here today, and with me is John Schneider from Fargo 3D Printing. Welcome, John.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So talk to me about Fargo 3D Printing.
Yeah, so Fargo 3D Printing is a meetup that we started about 2.5, 3 years ago now. We knew that there were a lot of people in the Fargo area that were starting to get into 3D printing, and we had just been meeting with people before casually, but we thought it'd be a good idea to have a more formalized meetup where we actually get together, have some sort of agenda, and not just be emailing back and forth. Get to meet each other in person.
So I'm interested. I've obviously never been to one of your group's meetings. What do you do as a 3D printing group?
So we normally have someone who will be presenting on a topic. So it's very similar to some of the other meetups out there where they will, let's say it's someone that has a new type of 3D printing that they want to show off. They'll have a presentation about that. And then at the end of the presentation, questions and answers. A lot of times they'll actually have that printer with them, or they'll have things that have come off of that printer, talk about that. And then it's the remaining half hours just kind of sitting around and talking about 3D printing, talking about kind of what's going on in the industry.
Okay, and so do your members come from like all walks of life, or are you seeing that you've got some people are definitely gravitating towards this group or that group? Or?
Definitely pretty much anyone that has any sort of interest in 3D printing. There's people that do 3D printing professionally. There's students that are just starting to get into 3D printing. There are college professors. You have just older retirees that they want to learn about this new technology. They maybe have done stuff like CNC machining in the past, or they're familiar with other types of manufacturing. They want to learn more. There's model makers that are trying to figure out, okay, how does 3D printing fit into their craft more?
How did you get into it?
I'm just a huge geek. I mean, really, when it comes down to it, that's what it is. I got into
3D printing first came out. What did you think? I need to print this.
Oh, I wasn't born when 3D printing first came out.
No, I know.
But no, I understand
But,
what you mean. It was the typical, at the time, everyone was printing out a little model Yoda head.
Okay.
I think anyone that has a 3D printer has printed that model out at some point in time. And it's not a terribly useful model, but being able to say, hey, I made this out of plastic.
But it's Yoda.
It is Yoda.
So there's some value right there in just having a Yoda.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's cool. And you guys meet how often?
Not very often.
Okay.
It ends up being about once a quarter. We're a very loosely organized group, so it's usually someone from it's usually myself or maybe one other person who initiates, hey, let's have a meetup. So we've grown, I think, probably 30 members since the last time we've had a meetup. So there's a lot of people in our meetup group we haven't had a chance to meet with yet. But we are planning on having one in September, just trying to get the date TBD. That's kind of depending on our presenter.
So you've got 30 more members than you had last time? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, I think right now we are in the mid-90s.
Okay. But more people are welcome.
Oh yeah, more people are absolutely welcome.
And if they want to come and check out what you guys do, you're going to have a booth here at Tech Tailgate, right?
Yep.
So talk to us about Tech Tailgate and why you guys want to be there.
It's just really cool seeing all the different tech meetups. I didn't participate while I was an attendee in the last Tech Tailgate, and it was really cool seeing what other technology-based meetups were in the area. And so we thought, since we have so many meetup members that are wanting to learn more about 3D printing, we're sure that there's others that just have no idea we exist. So it's great to get out in front of other people that are interested in technology, just have a night where we talk 3D printing with a bunch of other geeks.
No, I think 3D printing is really a cool technology, and it's got all sorts of applications, both professional and casual and practical and entertainment, right?
Right.
I mean, so there's all sorts of things, and 3D printing has been around for a long time, like you mentioned, but it's definitely taken leaps and bounds in its evolution in the last 5 years, right?
Right. Absolutely.
And so it's going to be interesting to see now that it's more widely adopted, how much more quickly it continues to evolve.
And we're already starting to see that a lot, and that's why desktop 3D printing has gotten so much more popular. Is so much more development is happening on making the 3D printers easier to use, making them more reliable. So that's why we're seeing more and more people with 3D printers out there.
So again, you don't really need any specific background to come and check you guys out,
just a desire to learn about 3D printing. I mean, if you have any interest, whether it's just on the hobbyist, you're just curious about what 3D printing is, or if you're a professional and you do 3D printing day in and day out, there's always there's always something that someone can learn from someone else.
Perfect. So people can definitely come and visit with you or somebody else from the group at Tech Tailgate. Yep. But where else can they find information about the group?
Best place is going to be on meetup.com. So just go to meetup.com, type in Fargo 3D Printing, and we will probably be the only 3D printing meetup that pops up.
Perfect. Well, that's great information. Thanks for coming by today and giving us just your little bit of pitch about the group, and we wish you all sorts of success.
Well, yeah, thanks for having me.
You bet. And that's it. Again, we had John from Fargo 3D Printing with us. As we said, you can swing by and visit them at Tech Tailgate coming up on September 8th at 5. September 8th at 5, downtown Fargo here, and you can get more information about the tailgate at techtailgate.com. And remember, we've got plenty more Tech Tailgate content on the podcast, so please do check all that out as well. Until next time, I'm Brian Crommett. This is G3. Game on.